What's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of Career Mode. This is episode number 23, and we're starting today's episode on the back of our big win against Burnley, and I promise in today's episode guys, I will not be ripping into EA for 15 minutes, instead focusing on what you're seeing on the screen, and we'll be starting off with this. Ryan Yates, Academy graduate, hasn't really played at all this season, and whilst we've converted him to CB, and he's grown quite nicely, he says that not playing is not good for his career, and he wants to move away. Just very briefly on this, I really hope in future versions of FIFA that when a player submits a transfer request, you can try and talk him round. You can tempt him with a pay rise. You can make him a promise of more first team football, or qualifying for a European competition, or just perhaps in the future, a year, 2, 3 years down the line, or maybe not 3 years, but maybe like a year down the line, they might have a change of heart. Because, how many times do we see it? A player says, oh, I want to leave, and then suddenly they get a big double the salary pay increase, and then they decide to stay and they love the club again. Athletes. So I'd like to see that in FIFA, because now, as you guys will know, when a player submits a transfer request, it's game over. Like, as soon as a player says, I want to leave, that's it. You can't talk him around. And forever he will stay on the transfer list until he is sold or it comes to the end of his contract. I hope in future versions of FIFA that, maybe for like 6 months, a player will not talk to you, but occasionally, or I should say occasionally, eventually, they'll be willing to chat. In Football Manager happens a lot, like a player will go on a transfer list. If you want to try and negotiate a contract, their agent will say he's not interested in negotiating a new deal, he wants to move away. But, sometimes after a few months, maybe the club's performing at a higher level, maybe if, the season's come to an end and you've qualified for a European competition, maybe if you've given him more game time, whatever the case might be, the player might say, do you know what, I'm going to withdraw my transfer request, let's chat about a new contract. In FIFA, that will never happen, and I hope for realism's sake it does as the years go by. Anyway, first game of today's episode on the back of what's been a really inconsistent run for Forest, but no losses in our last 5 games. Yeah, heading into today's episode here, Leicester City away at the 6 games. Leicester City away at the King Power Stadium, East Midlands derby. Whenever we face Leicester, it is a cracker. It is a feisty, fiery affair, as it should be. Last year, our first meeting at this ground, we lost 5-1. The fans were singing you getting sacked in the morning. How different things have been since then. Right now, we're on the brink of European football with just a few games to go. Unfortunately, if you're going to do that, you need composure and you can't bottle it. Well, we did just that in the first half of this game. Went 2-0 up early, first Rodri and then Tony. And then Leicester scored 2 to make it 2-2 before the break. Yep, absolutely bottled it in one half. From 2-0 up to 2-2 in a real goal fest here at the King Power. But chances for both teams to win it, each in the second half, including here 25 minutes to go. Tony smacking one off the post, and then Gibbs White denied by Danny Ward. Final score in the end, 2-2, and we just haven't had a consistent run of wins going. Yep, the unbeaten streak does extend to 7 since our loss at Goodison Park, but if you want to be in the Champions League, as much as I'd love for us to get there, you gotta win consistently. You can't just win one game and then draw or lose the other and then win again and think that's enough. No, you've got to win consistently. Leicester down the bottom of the table, desperate to stay in the Premier League, both in the save and in real life, of course, as well. Claimed a big point there, but to us, that was a big 2 points drop from 2-0 up. Following game, midweek, Chelsea away Stamford Bridge. These have turned into a rival of ours now, Chelsea. I love it as well. They've been our main big team rival, if you will, since the sales began after our Carabao Cup semi-final last year. And just in general, like the games we've had against them have been really, really good. Lost to them 2-0 this season at City Ground. On the back of that draw to Leicester there, midweek, had to rotate most of my side. I was fearing the worst. Chelsea made the brightest start. Henderson bailed me out early, but unfortunately 33 minutes in, Chelsea would take the deserved lead. Lovely awareness from Sterling, cuts it back, and Kai Havertz, when's he going to get his new haircut added into the game? We were all waiting for it. Turns home from close range, open goal. Graham Potter loving it, 7th of the season for the German. So, Chelsea in front were a goal down. You would have seen my lineup pre-game. Major changes to my lineup because obviously it was midweek. Didn't fancy our chances to get a win in this game. First team tired. But right after the restart in the second half, What a perfect beginning. Yep, right from kickoff, we are back on level terms. And Tony saying to Obama, yeah, I can do the celebration too. Did you see the celebration at San Siro? It's such an iconic celebration. I love it. The picture, I put it on my Twitter, the picture looks so cool. Like, such a cool celebration, especially like on the biggest of stages of the Champions League. It's such a big, iconic ground. That's so cool, isn't it? Anyway, it's 1-1. Tony was back on level terms, and I'll be honest here. You see me do it a few times since this save began. I just shut up shop. Every single man behind the ball, I'll take a point in this game. But stoppage time. Fofana gets into a bit of a mix-up. Gives it Livramento. Oh, and what drama at Stamford Bridge. You love to see it. You know, for all the criticism I gave EA in the very last episode, one thing I will say that I'm really liking in this game is the high press and putting teams and players under pressure in their own area is resulting in errors in composure. And it's really needed as well. It's really needed because most of the time it will happen to you, which is really cool because in Brennan Johnson's comeback game, he wins it with his 10th of the year. His comeback game from the broken toe, and he wins it at the bridge. But it's really cool because, like, how many times in, like, last year's FIFA and the year before, like, AI teams could just pass out front and back with no problems whatsoever and never feel the pressure no matter how hard and intense your press was. But now, in moments like that, they do feel the pressure occasionally. They might make a mistake, and if they do, you better well capitalise on it like we did there. Huge moment, and it happens both ways. I talked about it happens to me as well. Like, you've seen it throughout this save. I've been caught out by a high intense press from the AI, especially a big team, and it's caught me out and it's put me under pressure and I've panicked and I've given the ball away and I've surrendered a cheap goal. That right there, you know, we talked about in the last episode about realism and simulation based play. If that's what EA want, more stuff like that, EA. That's more realistic, you know. So anyway, great moment there, I thought, for realism, and the celebration's iconic as Brennan Johnson on his comeback game wins it in stoppage time for a rotated side at the bridge. But heading into this one here against Brentford, away in West London. Stayed here, didn't go back to Nottingham, no point, stayed in the hotel. Now taking on Brentford at the Community Stadium. Or is it's called a G-Tech Stadium now, isn't it? Away in West London here, taking on the Bees. Thomas Franca's side. Well, worst possible start. Just beat Chelsea at the bridge. What I was saying in the last episode, man, now I'm getting wins away from home against the big teams. But I'm struggling in the games where I should be winning pretty comfortably. Brentford down the bottom of the table. This should have been a banker on the back of the win against Chelsea. We fell behind very early on, but right from kickoff, we did respond. Nice little ball through to Ivan Toney. And we mentioned this in the last episode as well. Toney just can't stop scoring against his former teams. He scored against Newcastle, Peterborough, and now Brentford in this one season alone. If we had Northampton Town in the cup, he would have scored in that one as well. But even so, Brentford won, Forest won. Fuming at half-time, though, because I should have gone through one-on-one to make it 2-1. After Johnson made a slide tackle and the referee blew for half-time. I always say it, the referee's well within his rights to blow for half-time whenever he wants, so long as the allocated minimum minutes are being played. But that was ludicrous. Johnson was like 22 yards from goal. He's going to go through one-on-one after the tackle and the referee blows for half-time. I was like, what? Are you serious? Come on, ref. Honestly, conspiracy to keep Forest out of Europe, I swear. But even so, we did get in front of the first time in the game through Morgan Gibbs-White in the second. But unfortunately, in a really topsy-turvy goal fest of a game, we see them very frequently in FIFA nowadays. Yup, 17 minutes to go. Vitaly Janelt belts in a leveler from 20 yards and Brentford claim a point. End-to-end, action-packed, goal fest of a game, this one. 2-2, the final score in a 4-goal thriller. But once again, for Forest, the problems laid bare. A draw away against Brentford there. We just can't string wins together. 4 games to go in the season. We're in 7th place. I don't think we're going to make the top 4 now. Several points off Manchester United. I don't think we're going to make it out. There's an outside shot. It's definitely doable. We've got a game in hand on several of the teams around us right now. But, you know, I said this earlier. Like, you can't... if you want to be in the top 4, consistency is the name of the game. You can't win one game and then draw the next and then lose the other and then win one and then draw and then win one and then draw. No, you got to win consistently. We just haven't done that. In fact, we haven't won consistently back-to-back games I believe, since January, or possibly even December, thinking about it. It's been January or December anyway. But even so, that's been our Achilles heel in the second half of the season. We've picked up good results. We haven't lost that many times. In fact, we haven't lost since the start of February. We had through the whole of March undefeated and most of February as well. But unfortunately, draws have cost us this season. We've got more draws than anyone else in the division, I believe, and that's what's cost us. Following game, Norwich City right now struggling to stay up here. The yo-yo team, as we know, at the City ground, thinking this should be a banker coming back home. Well, you know, I said it in the last episode, I talked about it. It's so frustrating how when you take on one of the teams that are quite low in the table, you expect to win pretty comfortably when you're at home, right? You think that's realistic. Well, unfortunately in FIFA, I don't know why EA have done this, you know, I really, really don't. Like, seriously, at the start of the FIFA year, yeah, I was winning these games, or these sort of games, pretty comfortably, or so it appeared, and I was struggling away from home, but now it's like, oh, he drew 0-0 to Sheffield United, now he drew 0-0 with Norwich, and it's like, oh, man, like, seriously, it's so frustrating when that happens, do you know what I mean? Like, we beat Chelsea away, we beat Arsenal away, yet we can't beat Norwich. We can't even score against Norwich and Sheffield United, both at home. And it's like seriously, EA, I swear, since the patch, I'm noticing it more and more. It's going back to how it was like last year. Anyway, I promised in the last episode I wouldn't talk about it much, so I'll keep my frustrations within me now. Following game, big one here, actually massive one here. Final one of today's episode, Leeds United, on the back of back-to-back draws. Well, top four's gone now, no doubt about it. Top four has gone. Any chance of getting there, we have to win our final four. But there is still a chance we could finish in 7th, 6th or 5th. And that will give us Europa or Europa Conference League. But we got to win these games because it is so tight right now in the top 10. And we got to win these games. We still got Manchester United and West Ham to come. We cannot afford to lose this game or slip up here at the City ground. 33 minutes in and we're facing the prospect of no wins in 3. Rafa Mir going for the golden boot, makes it 1-0 and Leeds take the lead. Nothing for them to play for but European football on the line. Champions League at the City ground, that's now gone, but now I'm bottled in European football. Rafa Mir makes it 1-0. We fall behind in the first half. We needed a leveller and 5 minutes before the break, Jesse Lingard levels it for me. Not much game time this season for Lingard. I said at the start of the season I was going to swap he and Gibbs White around and give the youngster more minutes this year. I've done that. I've stuck true to that. But Lingard's still got a place in this team. Third of the year in limited minutes, and Forest have their leveller right before the break. The question is, could we find a winner in the second half? Because Lord knows we needed it. If we're going to make 6th or 5th, we needed it. But instead, oh, thank God for that. I almost threw the point away on its own. Yep. Great save by Dean Henderson, who might not have got another clean sheet, but did make sure we got a point. Almost bottled out right at the end. In the end, we claim a point, but no doubt about it now. Champions League dreams have definitely gone, and after 3 straight draws, well, European football is in our grasp. Destiny is in our own hands. 2 games to go, but our final games are going to be against West Ham and Manchester United. The Red Devils were a chance to get top 4 in the penultimate game of the season, and then West Ham away. And if they win that game and we lose back-to-back after no wins in our last 3, we'll miss out on European football. Even though we're in 6th, we might well bottle at the end. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day. Much love to you, and I'll see you for the season finale very soon. 5th, 6th, 7th or 8th. European football or nothing. We'll find out in the season finale, and I'll see you for it very soon.